Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I have another thought for the day. And once again, this comes from The Call to Brilliance by Resa Steindel Brown. A true story to inspire parents and educators. And I'm reading from the same chapter, chapter 12. Where's the instruction manual for this kid? We often want somebody help. What do we do with this kid? So, and this is, I'm starting reading on page 97. Stephen continued to be a great explorer. This child took everything apart. Every toy, construction set, mechanical device. Whatever held anything together was fair game for his little fingers. But by now, we were learning to work with him. So, when Stephen dismantled the door handle of my sister's brand new car before she finished buckling him into his car seat, we were no longer alarmed. As he offered her the disconnected part, she thanked him, asked him to help her reconnect the handle, and then moved his car seat to the center of the car away from harm's way. When I entered the family room and discovered the children's table dismantled and scattered across the floor, I took the same tactic. I told Stephen how clever he was and asked him to show me how he took apart the legs and elicited his help in putting them back together. Then I explained that maybe the table was not for taking apart, but I would help him find things that were. We were never angry. We made a conscious choice to assist Stephen, to work with him in the particular direction he needed to grow, even if it did involve dismantling the things around him or flew in the face of popular parenting. And taking things apart was definitely his path. Later, he would take apart phones, small appliances, sound systems, and professional computer systems, all at an early age and all on the path to his own genius. Wheatley, Dr. Margaret Wheatley explains, quote, partnering with life, working with its cohering motions, requires that we take life's direction seriously. This direction cannot be ignored or taken lightly. Like all life, we learn to sidestep the fearful minds that keep us from those great cohering motions which give meaning to our lives. End quote. As time went on, our path of partnering with life appeared to be a solitary one, at least within that mommy and me group. By the time Stephen was 2, the women in the group started talking about making their children independent and snubbing those parents who weren't. We train each other in this paradigm and then police those who stray. This quest to foster independence took on a vengeance. Parents pulled security blankets from toddlers, stripped babies of their bottles, threw out beloved pacifiers, and threatened to cut off thumbs. Children were plucked out of their cribs and flung into twin beds. Older siblings were sent off to overnight camps. No source of familiarity and comfort was left untouched. But independence is really a euphemism for separation. We separate our children from the very things that give them a sense of intimacy and security. We push them out of the nest earlier and earlier, and then we wonder why there's a rift between our teenagers and ourselves. Interdependence is an entirely different way of interacting. An interdependent relationship occurs when two or more whole, solid, centered human beings cooperate with each other so that everyone's needs are met. An interdependent relationship is built on trust and intimacy. Interdependent relationships are nurtured within the protective walls of an unconditionally loving family. Independent relationships create polarity and conflict. They imply that the only way to be whole is to be separate. They create a sense of self-centeredness. They underline the necessity to take care of oneself because no one else will. They promote self-preservation. They separate people from each other, and they are bound to create disharmony and rebellion. They do not facilitate meaningful growth. The drive to force our children into independence is a form of brainwashing foisted on us by the masterminds of the Industrial Revolution. Largely unaware of where this practice comes from, we still push our babies out of the cradle in its name, in the name of independence. Before the end of the 19th century, the multi-generational extended family was the center and support of our day-to-day existence. To accomplish the goals of the Industrial Revolution, the industrialists had to break up loyalty to this social unit. They invented the smaller, more vulnerable nuclear family, and then redefined growth as separation or independence from the family. This wedge was necessary to free the parent to work long hours in the factory and to train the child in school to the new paradigm. Generations grew up learning a set of values and ethics different from that of the families and a little more compatible with the objectives of industry. Alvin Toffler writes, quote, "To free workers for factory labor, key functions of the family were parceled out to new specialized institutions. Family structure then changed to accommodate the requirements necessary to fit the new technosphere." End quote. Participation in the larger, more supportive family unit was seen as subversive of economic success. We are the poorer for this loss of comradeship, support, and love. By the time Stephen was 2.5, most of the mothers in the group had unknowingly succumbed to this industrial paradigm. They put their children into preschool and daycare. Some of the mothers went back to work, whether they needed to or not. Dennis and I prioritized our values, redefined our needs, and figured out how to keep me at home with the kids. It was economic suicide, and the industrialists would have been appalled, but children only grow up once. And thanks to the loving and unconditional support of my husband, I was able to participate. Nothing was going to separate and divide our family. The Industrial Revolution has never been a humane movement. Many of its goals conflict with those factors that nurture the soul. Love is what brings us together. Yet the industrial paradigm creates separation, excludes love, and calls that division between family members growth. Growth is better defined as the capacity to strengthen our relationships, not break away from them. Growth demands greater communion, greater responsibility to heart, to our families, our friends, and our communities. The greater the love, the greater our consciousness, our compassion, and the sense that we all affect each other and need to act with that in mind. Love is our finest vehicle for growth. But thanks to our industrial format, our society excludes love from its paradigms. It pushes love as an operational force out of our institutions and out of our consciousness. And it does this because love brings us together. And together we are far too powerful to be manipulated. So as you go through your day, think about what is needed to bring us back together. What kind of mutual nurturing support? What kind of understanding? Maybe it's just listening to one another a little better. Maybe it's offering a helping hand here and there. Be thinking about how to bring yourself back together with yourself, your real self. And what would it be like to come back together as a family, or to find a new family you can be together with, or as a region, or as a nation? Or what about a planet? Okay, have a wonderful day.